So this is my title of my talk, and the background is our campus of Future University Hakodate. Anyway, these are my points today. I am in the field of computer science, particularly in AI, so I want to study intelligence in its abstract level. And that science is different from analytical science, different from natural science or physics, and it belongs to the constructive or synthetic science that needs a different viewpoints that we call the end-system view and a different methodology. And the essence of the new constructive methodology is evolutionarism. That's the point of my talk today. And why we need an end-system view? For the study of intelligence, if you just adopt the natural science methodology, analytical methodology, that is the behavioral psychology, and that completely failed to explain what's going on in our brain. So we have to go inside our brain and see what's going on. So particularly in AI, the methodology is that we have to construct a program. That might be a robot or whatever it could be, but we want to construct something and to observe its behavior and compare it to natural intelligence of human being. So we need something different. And here is what I call the difference between ENSO and the end-system views. The left-hand side is the traditional analytical scientific view. If you want to observe the system, that's a yellow cycle, and the researcher should be separated from that, and so it's just like floating somewhere else, and the interaction should be as minimum as possible. And when I say end-system view, that the researcher is in the system, so it interferes with the system, and interaction is, not only allowed, but I think it's an essential part of the study of the system. And of course, we need those two views, and we have to use proper one when appropriate. But today I mainly talk about the right-hand side. And here is a very interesting observation. That viewpoint is quite related to the language we use. And this is a very famous first sentence of Yasunari Kawabata, who is a Nobel Prize winner in literature. And its translation, actually, Science Dika is the person who introduced Kawabata to the rest of the world. So this translation is not ad hoc, or it's not low quality, or it's a very high quality translation of the original Japanese sentence. So I want you to imagine the scene, what is described by this. So Japanese people, imagine from the left-hand side, and American people imagine from the right-hand side, and the result is something like that. When you read Japanese, you are on a train going into a small country. But if you read an English sentence, you are outside the train, just like a bird, you are in the sky, so you see a train coming out of the tunnel. So this is just one example, but I think there is a kind of deep relationship between the language we use and the way we think or we observe the world. So going back to the original figure, the left-hand side is the end-system view, or Japanese view. You are in the train, or you are in the system. And the right-hand side is the analytical view. You are outside of the system. And related to that, Herbert Simon wrote a book. Actually, he wrote the 3 versions of the book of the same title, The Science of the Artificial. So he also claim that the necessity of the different science that is artificial. And I don't have time to go into the detail, but anyway, the analysis and synthesis are kind of compared here. And Simon's view is something like that. And this is a very naive view of analysis versus synthesis. This analysis or synthesis is just a reverse reciprocal process of analysis. But I claim this is a wrong view. I don't think this is the case. And why? So in synthesis, the parts are not given. It's not a plastic model. If someone already know the whole part and just make parts, that is easy. But it's not a plastic model. We have to synthesize something new. So we don't know what the parts are unless we know the whole. But the whole cannot be constructed unless we have the parts. So here is a kind of deadlock. How we can solve this problem. And the answer, I think, is a loop. So, you begin with some concept goal. You have some image of what you want to construct and generate something, to implement that. But the point is that the generated thing will have unpredicted interaction with the environment. If there is no environment at all, then the whole system may be simple, but particularly intelligent thing interact with the environment. And this interaction cannot be predicted beforehand. And we have to observe and make an analysis. So this C2 is a kind of analytical part. So in my vision of synthesis, analysis is just a part of the loop. That's why I said that synthesis is not the opposite direction of analysis. And untried thing is probably different from the initial goal. So we configure the initial goal again and generate a new next version, and they interact with the environment, we analyze that. So this is a kind of continuous loop. So it may not terminate, it just goes on and on. And I think this is the process of synthetic or constructive science. And evolution method comes here, because we don't have a complete or clear view of the goal. We are trying to do something and see its result and change the original plan. So it is a kind of try and error thing. And also, the important thing is that the process itself of the complex and politic system. So even after you analyze the difference, you cannot just fix it because changing the part may affect other parts. So you cannot directly control the behavior of the complex system. So here again, the evolutionary method is the key here. And when I say evolution, I'm using it a very simplified way, just these two, random generation plus selection, nothing more. So you try to generate many things, and you select some of them due to some criteria, and that will be the result will be the next seed, and you just repeat this sequence. So when we learn the synthetic loop, this generation and selection is done by every loop. And I don't go into the detail, but this is the quote from Wikipedia of the genetic algorithm. And the point is that it has a select and breed as a essence of the loop. And this is Ichikawa's views of evolution. Atsunobu Ichikawa is a Japanese scientist. He claims that the science and technology is also an evolutionary system, and that means that all the scientists is trying to create a new view, new technology, and they are selected by the force. So it's just clearly according to his vision, it's another evolutionary systems. So I just read them. Their conditions: existence of self-reproduction unit, genome to maintain regularity, and the existence of the system structure self-replication units, and the possibility of mutation in the system structure, and interaction among replicator systems, that's a selection, and existence of external environment. So that number 5 is very important. Again, if you don't have external environment, the process will be very simple, but in reality, we do have external environment that cannot be controlled by the system. So again, this is the another drawing of the same loop I just showed. By the way, we named it the FNS diagram because it's a production collaboration of 3 people, and anyway, so and here I use the term noema and noesis. That is quoting from the Bin Kimura, the professor of the Kyoto University. And anyway, you have a kind of idea of what you have. That is called the future noema, and you just generated it. It's called noesis. And so it's a kind of generation process. Generation, I use the term generation as a part of synthetic group. So the whole system is a synthetic group, but generation is only a part of that. And generated thing has an interaction with the environment, and the C2 is a kind of evaluation. So these C1 corresponds to the generate, and the C2 corresponds to test or selection. This is a kind of natural evolution. And the C3 is a focusing. That is a kind of intentional thing by the researcher. So this is different from the natural evolution, because in nature there's no C3 unless you believe in God. And actually, the system, there was a talk about the brain early this morning, and it's not a simple structure, it's multi-level things. And human body is multi-layer complex systems. So actually, we want to run this loop in many levels of the system. And so the result becomes very complicated. But one of the point is that the environment in the upper system may become system itself in a lower level. For example, in an upper level, if we talk about human society, I am the system, and you are all the environment from my point of view. But when we go down one level, then each of you become the component of the whole system. So it's a kind of difference. But anyway, the point is that we have a very, very complicated loop. This is not a loop of the actual system going on. It's a loop of research, of trying to know what the whole system is. And I briefly pointed out that there is a difference between our system and both levels function independently, but the body is configured in a very specific way to respond to the function of mind. And so this is my answer. And however, I have to prove that. And this is my current research plan. I want to try to construct a system of the multi-layered system that the second level or third level will emerge. And this is my just a plan. I didn't do a lot with that, but we begin with a very simple, could be one-dimensional or two-dimensional, but several automaton. But the point is that its rule changes or evolves. And when upper level behavior, some kind of structure or behavior emerges, we need some kind of feedback from the upper level to the lower level to, fix the structure or fix the rule of the lower level. And so once some kind of new level emerges, then if it's fixed there, then we can talk about the evolution of the second level from there on, and we can go on to the third level and fourth level, that kind of thing. The similar thing in nature is structure of cells. In the beginning of life, there was no structure of cell, but once a cell emerged as a structure, then it functions as to fix the structure and to reproduce its structure from then on. One of the biologists, Marina Dunn, she claimed that there was only one cell produced in the history of the living things, and it was the source of all the cells